So is it just me, or does America seem to be even more sexualized than it was whenever we were younger, teenagers, even children? Today, I'm going to talk about a couple different scenarios that or situations that have happened recently in America in two different states. The reason I want to talk about it is because I have three boys, hence the name of this channel, this page. Um, and they are all young right now, but they all could be in this situation. So, um, as you can see from the title, it's kind of dealing with really pedophilia or sexual situations that shouldn't be happening. There's recently been a case of a teacher in Illinois that did some sexual acts with a minor on a soccer team. And when I say minor, I mean like 14, 15. And I know as men, we kind of, well, I'm going to say as men, I know looking back as a teenager, you think, oh, cool, an older chick thinks I'm cute, an older chick thinks I'm attractive. But in actuality, that is pedophilia. That is not, that's not cool, right? I have to think of it as think of it now from a father standpoint. I have three boys. I have at this moment of recording this video, I have a 7-year old. Well, I have three boys all under 7, right? So technically, in the next, you know, 5, 6, 7 years, my boys could be in this situation. Now, you know, if you've ever seen any of my other videos, I always tie everything back to being the scripture. So I'm going to reference the scripture, specifically the Old Testament, in Exodus chapter 30, verses number 11 through 16. I'm going to read it quickly and then we'll go there. So, then the Lord spoke to Moses, saying, when you take the census of the children of Israel for their number, then every man shall give a ransom for himself to the Lord when you number them, that there may be no plague among them when you number them. This is what everyone among those who are numbered shall give: half a shekel according to the shekel of the sanctuary. A shekel is 20 gerahs. The half shekel shall be an offering to the Lord. Everyone, including among those who are numbered from the 20 years old and above, shall give an offering to the Lord. The rich shall not give more, the poor shall not give less than half a shekel. When you give an offering to the Lord to make an atonement for yourselves, and you shall take the atonement money of the children of Israel and shall appoint it for the service of the tabernacle, meaning that it may be a memorial for the children of Israel before the Lord to make an atonement for themselves. This is probably the first time that an adult age has been mentioned in the Bible. Clearly, there were other times where people were adults, but to specifically put a number on when a man was considered adult, that's really one of the first times. So 20 years old, okay? I know in America, we think, a man is, when a boy turns 18, he's a man. He needs to get out on his own. That's not scriptural. That's not biblical. That's not something that I believe God even intended for us to do. That's a Western ideal. But when it comes specifically to me as a father, you as a father, you as a man, in taking care of your children, especially their hearts, their sexual purity, they are not at the age to be um, really partaking in those acts. For this teacher, who was, like I said, in Illinois, for this teacher to do that, she is perverted. She's, like I said, that is pedophilia Even though we tend to think of pedophilia as a man going after a young girl, it happens the same way with women. Um, so for me, I'm gonna make sure that my boys are always in a environment that I feel is safe. I'm gonna always talk to my children about what is right or wrong according to the Bible, not according to the world, according to the Bible. And I'm also always going to know who is teaching my children, if they're at school or if they're homeschooled. I'm just telling you the truth. What is crazy is that in most recent years, this has become more prevalent. If you can remember, I don't know, I'm like I said, I'm 36, 37. I remember in the 1990s, there was a very prominent case of a teacher in the West or the Pacific Northwest that was messing with a young boy. I mean, it wasn't even a teenager. He was like 12 or 13. I mean, a young teenager, like 12 or 13. And, it's a sickness, to be honest with you. So, as men, we need to make sure that we are always in our children's lives, always in our sons' lives, because as boys, we are very, very easily swayed, especially when there's an older woman that seems to be even somewhat attractive and pours into us. We can be very easily swayed. So there was another story, again, of another teacher, this one time in Indiana, who actually had interactions with multiple boys that were not even like really upper teenager. They were like 13, 14, 12, all in the same room and multiple occasions. Again, it's a sickness. And if you don't know, um, we'll read again some scripture about like sexual issues. So so we're gonna go to Ephesians chapter 4. This is New Testament. Ephesians chapter 4, starting at verse really 16. From whom the whole body joined and knit together by what every joint supplies, every according to the effective work by which every part does its share, causes growth of the body for edifying itself in love. This I say, therefore, and testify in the Lord, that you should no longer walk as the rest of the Gentiles walk, in the futility of their mind, having their understanding darkened, being alienated from the life of God because of the ignorance that is in them, because of the blindness of their heart, who being past feeling have given themselves over to lewdness, work all uncleanness with greediness, but you have not so learned Christ. Okay, so this one is, I'm saying lewdness. I'll kind of tie that one, but I like this scripture better. Colossians 3 and 5. Put to death, therefore, what is earthly in you, sexual immorality, impurity, passion, evil desire, and covetousness, which is adultery. The teachers, the women, the adults that prey on young people, young men, are sexually immoral. They are, have evil intention and evil desires. Again, as a man, I know how men, how boys think, how easily boys are swayed, how easily boys are influenced. We have to we have to guard their heart. We have to guard their mind. We have to guard their body until they're of age. Any adult that thinks that, they're teenagers, their hormones, they know what they're, no, that's sick and gross. And if you don't call that out, if you don't get some of that under control when they were very young, and I mean preteen, before puberty, this can happen because there are adults that prey on young boys. There are adults that prey on young girls. And as a Christian father, as a Christ follower, I have an obligation to teach my children, to teach my boys what is right, what is righteous, what is godly. You as a man, you as a husband, you as a father, you as a future father, you as a future husband, have to guard your children, have to guard your family, have to protect them at all times in any situation, especially when it comes to schooling, especially when it comes to sexual interactions. You have to. And these teachers they're going to jail. They're going to be convicted or have already been convicted. It's just crazy that this happens in our society, and that it wasn't very frequent that we heard this whenever I was a child. I heard it. I knew what those things happened. Well, I knew of those situations, but as a child, you didn't really know what was going on. You just heard, oh, blah, blah. This teacher was messing with this kid. And then when you become a teenager, you're like, oh my gosh, this teacher literally like manipulated this this teacher manipulated this other teenager, which is, like I said, it's not hard to manipulate a teenage boy with an attractive teacher or attractive woman. So you have to guard your children. You have to pour into them so that they know what is right or wrong when it comes to someone overstepping boundaries. If you like this content, if you have a comment, drop a line down below. If you like this content, click the like button. If you find all this interesting, hit the subscribe or follow button. I really appreciate it. I hope that these videos are helpful for you to where you become a better man, a better father, a better husband. We will see you in the next video. Stay blessed.